Okay, welcome to the Releasing Subconscious Blocks to Scale Your Profitable Business. I am so excited to have you here because self-sabotage and blocks, which I'm going to dive deep into today, I would say all of my clients have some form of this. And I want to just say first off the bat, releasing blocks does not mean bypassing feelings. It doesn't mean that we're never going to have these human emotions, that we're going to be able to just have smooth sailing, because guess what? We all have things that come up. And so my intention for this training is for you to not bypass your feelings, or that you're always going to be calm and smooth sailing throughout your business, but it's really to empower you to be aware, number one, that some of these patterns are playing out and they're often blind spots that you're probably not seeing for yourself, and that's okay. So watch this live or replay with the lens of compassion, because these things do come up. And like I always say, if you've been following me for a while, if you've been in my world on social media, in my newsletter, you know that I combine both the energetic piece, which is what we're really going to be talking about today, with the smart systems and strategies. And with that combination, that is how you scale a profitable healing business. And so I know that's why you're here, because you are a light worker, you are a heart-centered healer who wants to serve. And you want to spend your energy on actually serving those clients rather than worrying about where the next client's coming from. And so instead of focusing on the outside of being hyper vigilant, saying, where are these clients? My goal for you is to raise your energy, reclaim your power so that you are magnetizing them. Just feel into the frequency of the shift of that, right? Getting clients feels very coming from force and control, which is, again, a nervous system response that we get conditioned to do because we don't feel safe. And we're going to go into that today. Versus I magnetize my soul aligned clients. There is such a shift in energy when you move from operating from force and control and all of these subconscious programs that are running for you into this empowered state. And I always, every single live that I do, I always show this chart. And we're going to go over this today about how to move from more disempowered states of people pleasing, staying stuck in perfectionism, gripping onto control. Those are all nervous system patterns that you've learned from childhood, from very early on, that became woven in your nervous system, that are now automatic responses. So typically, in a typical week, you might have certain default patterns that you're doing. You might have certain emotions that you're experiencing. Maybe it's judgment, frustration. What are some of the other ones? Anger. And we're not realizing that all of this is a symptom of something going on that's deep within you. And so we're going to bring all of this to the surface. I'm going to have it make perfect sense. I promise. We're going to bring it down to a really tangible, practical level so that you can take some of these principles into your business. And I'm also going to be sharing how to join Elevate. Which way is it? how to really integrate this into your business and have soulful accountability in Elevate Entrepreneur Academy. So we're going to go into all of that. So if you are joining me, let me know in the comments where you're from, what patterns you're finding yourself get looped into or stuck in. And just know that this is a safe space for you to just share about what you're going through so that I can be of service and I can really help you. So what I want to say first of all, and maybe I should even introduce myself, because I know a lot of you are in the group, but you might not know who I am or what I do and how I can really help you to scale a profitable business. So I'll just start off with that first. So my name is Dr. Christina Fontana. I am a pharmacist, 5-time author, rapid transformation, intuitive business coach, and I help women like you, healers in healthcare, to combine both this energetic component, which is what we're going to be talking about today, with smart systems and processes to help you scale a profitable business. And so much of this work is energetic. I still do this work. I'm still moving through layers of these different things that come up in my business. And I want you to know there's nothing wrong with you. It is a nervous system response that has trickled down from these different layers. So like, as an example, when you were a child, you had certain experiences happen, which created certain thoughts, which created certain emotions that oftentimes are undigested in our body, that create these subconscious programs that translate to how you're showing up today. So this is who I am. This is who I serve. Women like you who are ready to scale profitable businesses, and you're ready to release self-sabotage. You're so done with just looping into these vicious cycles, experiencing these same emotions that I was talking about before on a weekly basis, and you're ready to really catapult into 2023 with a totally new frequency. And so I'm going to take you through that. What I want you to know is that releasing blocks does not mean bypassing your feelings. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have rough days. There are days, we have to really bring this down to a human level, right? Of course, we have, those really rock star days. Like yesterday, that was it for me. I got an opportunity with St. John's. I'm so excited, but not every day is like that. And I want you to know that that's normal. That's okay. And it's okay to not always be constantly achieving. Your nervous system needs to have balance. And oftentimes what happens is we're in these hyper arousal states where we think, especially as pharmacists, right? Our nervous systems get trained to always be on, to always have that sympathetic nervous system on. And we're running on those hyper arousal states of always needing to be, what do I need to do next, right? Your vision is always kind of like darting in that hyper vigilant state because you don't feel safe, because that's how we were conditioned to always be on the go. And a lot of you are moms, and I am a hopefully soon to be mom. I'm trying to get pregnant over here. And so this nervous system work and some of the energetic principles I'm going to go through with you today are really meant to support you in expanding your energetic bandwidth for the clients that you're going to be holding, for the clients that you're going to be working with. Because if you have leaky boundaries, if you have all of these blocks that are coming up, whenever someone does come in who's a potential client, will oftentimes sabotage it without even realizing, and I don't want that for you. So I see some people joining. I see some shy people joining right now. I want to see who you are, identify yourself. Yeah, and just, again, this is just a fun workshop that I wanted to share because I know how much, I have so many clients who are healers in healthcare who go through these cycles and they're not realizing. Maybe they've hired a business coach, they have a marketing person that they're working with, but they're still not getting results. And I know how frustrating that can be. So I want to just go into the fact that, you get programmed from age 0 to 7, from birth to age 7, with all of your foundational beliefs about yourself. So there's your subconscious identity. You also have these experiences that you've created stories about yourself. Like, as an example, I have to prove my worth, or I'm not good enough, or whatever that story is that was planted. Kind of think of it as a garden where you're planting these seeds, or the seeds were planted, and now you're still repeating those patterns as you've gotten older. And it's showing up in your business, and the frequency, the energy that you're lacing through your business is what's creating your results. So I always go back to frequency first. Aligning your energy, realizing, oh, this is the pattern that's showing up for me. That is a survival mechanism because I didn't feel safe when I was younger. I'm going to give you specific examples of how this plays out. So as an example, perfectionism. This is a big one that oftentimes when people are in these perfectionistic states of like all or nothing, or feeling like I need to have everything perfect before I put it out there, that comes from fear and control. So oftentimes this is rooted in childhood experiences where you were not allowed to make a mistake, where you got punished when you made a mistake, or you experienced shame and guilt around not being perfect. And so then these experiences were things that you went through that created these nervous system responses. So whenever you're faced with something where you have to, maybe as an example, put out a post. I had somebody who was saying that they spent like 5 hours nitpicking their post instead of just, trusting and opening their heart, downloading the post and putting it out there. So this really does it, and that creates an energy leak, right? So instead of that person, being open, getting the download, posting the post within maybe like 30 minutes, it took them 5 hours. So they could be doing other things in their business, and that's an example of how this perfectionism shows up. Or somebody might want to write a book or something like that, and they have everything ready. I had a friend actually who, her and I started writing my first book after she was done with her book, and it was ready to go. It was ready to be published. I published my book before she ever, I still don't know to this day if she ever published that book, but because she was a perfectionist, she was so afraid and terrified to put it out there for fear of criticism, fear of rejection, all of these things that are under the surface. And then you're beating yourself up, not realizing, well, why am I doing this? These are the reasons why, because there's always a root cause. I know a lot of you are functional medicine pharmacists, or you're looking at the root cause. That's exactly what I do in my business. I'm helping you dig deep and I can diagnose this within 5 minutes because I'm so intuitive, and I can be like, I can hear someone's frequency of their voice. I'm very intuitive. I get downloads very quickly, and I'm able to see your blocks, your blind spots, and your brilliance, to be able to really draw that out so that you're not struggling and doing all these things to, do all the action and the strategy without having your energy aligned first. So this is what I'm talking about. When you're experiencing blocks, it's because there's something deeper that wants to be acknowledged, that wants to be healed. Trust me, I have gone through my fair share. I've had all the blocks that I've ever listed: imposter syndrome, people-pleasing, perfectionism. And it's really part of this, because it's multifaceted, right? The healing process and allowing yourself to feel safe to shine in your business involves many layers. And that's the journey. That is the transformation journey. This is not an overnight process. It's not a linear process. We all know that, right? Daniela here. Oh, I love it. Beautiful. I just saw your comment here. Thank you so much for joining. That's great, Massachusetts. So yeah, just bringing to your awareness some of the ways that this shows up, right? The fear of being seen is another one, because typically there's shame held in the body. And again, I'm going to refer back to this Hawkins scale, where it's really, this scale right here is all about, the different energies that the human body can hold. So shame is one of the lowest frequencies that the human body holds. And oftentimes, shame loves to hide in the dark. So if you're ashamed of something, you don't want it to be out in the open, right? And so if you have shame, of course, you're not going to want to be seen, because there's something in your field, in your energy, that is undigested. Because what happens with the trauma is that your nervous system freezes. And so the energy, there's two ways that this shows up. So you have the cognitive memory of it, right? Of the trauma. But then there's the emotion of it that is still stuck in your body, in your subconscious body, that is playing this dynamic out, that causes you to be afraid to be seen, that causes you to, beat yourself up when you're not perfect. This is what's running. And this is the work that we do in Elevate Entrepreneur Academy to help you to feel safe to shine, to open your heart so that your clients can find you. Because when we have this energetic density that's pulling you down into these lower layers of shame, guilt, grief, all of that. And again, it's not anything wrong or bad. It's a blind spot. So there are things that there are things you don't know. That is the blind spot. It's like when you're driving in a car, right? You can't see what's right there because you're too close to your business. You can't see what's happening. And so I'm able to really diagnose and go in and say, hey, Daniela, you're not seeing this thing. Let's dive into that together. I'm seeing this block that you have. Let's just really be curious and loving and compassionate as we unearth this to clear it for you. So there are multi-layers to how this shows up and to the healing process. And we really dive deep into that in Elevate Entrepreneur. Another thing that I see a lot that I want to really speak to and highlight today is people pleasing. So people pleasing, a lot of my clients have this. So you are not alone. There are, again, early childhood experiences where, we have fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fawn is where you're trying to please, and it doesn't have to be an abuser. It could be just someone that you wanted to please as, an adult figure. It could have been a teacher or whoever it was, for you to stay safe. And you had to please this person and give your power away and abandon yourself to make sure that they were okay, that they weren't angry or upset or mad at you, because that's how you felt safe. And so what happens is, with people pleasing, you abandon your own needs to meet the needs of others. And this shows up in so many ways in business, right? Because again, these are early childhood experiences, but you take this with you because the subconscious is the body. So these experiences, this undigested emotion, usually it's guilt, right? A lot of people pleasers exhibit this guilt, like, oh, well, if I set a boundary, then I'm a bitch, or if I charge too much, then I'm greedy, or if there's always that negative consequence that's happening. And so often what happens is that you suppress your emotions, you don't speak your truth, because you're afraid that people are going to either abandon you, they're not going to like you, or there's going to be some other negative consequence. Like, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to feel bad, people are going to hate you, whatever that negative consequence is. The result is you not feeling safe to be you. I want you to just let that sink in for a second. So if you can relate to that, if you're watching the replay, give me like an amen or something. Yes, that makes sense, right? And what happens is we abandon ourselves and we become hyper vigilant on the external environment, and we make sure that there's no threat to us, getting in trouble. And the subconscious wants us to feel safe. So when you're trying to scale your business, all of these patterns come up, right? All of the people pleasing, because it's not safe to put yourself out there, to be seen, to set boundaries, because maybe you didn't have that before. You weren't able to do that as a child or in the workplace, right? We get conditioned as pharmacists to constantly give our power away, right? We can't speak our truth, can't go to the bathroom when you want to go, right? You have to stay in the confines of the pharmacy, whether it's a hospital pharmacy, a retail pharmacy, wherever you are, whatever your practice setting is. And we learn that. And so when you shift from being a pharmacist to being a full-time entrepreneur, or even, dipping into this, right, going into creating a business, all of these patterns come up. So entrepreneurship is actually a transformation portal, because it's calling you to bring these things up to the surface to heal. It's calling you to look at, it's almost like a mirror, right? To say, wow, this is not workable for my business. Because guess what? I want to show you how people pleasing shows up. I have a couple different examples here. Sales. So you might totally avoid sales altogether. You don't want to seem salesy. You don't want any conflict. You don't want to hear rejection or anything like that. You don't want people judging you for your prices. That's how people pleasing shows up. Or maybe you're undercharging, over delivering, you're beta testing your programs, you're afraid to charge because you don't want people to be like, oh, who do you think you are, charging all that money. All of those things come up, right, as a result of people pleasing, because again, your concern is more so with the other person rather than what feels good for me. How do I want to lace the frequency of my business? So this comes back to creating, the first step I'm going to teach you today is creating safety in the body. That is huge, because when you can do that, and when you can really look at this pattern and say, okay, this is my default, what is the truth? Those two things alone are really going to help you. So people pleasing shows up in client interactions, especially with blurred boundaries. So you might feel guilty setting boundaries with somebody because you don't want to seem like a bitch. You don't want to seem ungrateful, especially if it's a client that's paying you, but maybe he's in a group program and they're kind of like blurring the boundary of maybe messaging you or emailing you. You feel guilty setting that boundary of like, hey, by the way, this is only private access to me is only for one-on-one clients. That's a way it can show up. You may also post really safe content that isn't very like triggering to people, because you don't, again, you want to feel safe, and you put on this like nice girl, good girl persona, but guess what? It's not you, right? It's the version of you that has learned to adapt to survive. And so this process, this transformation, is about you releasing these layers of the masks and the conditioning and the patterns that you have built up over a lifetime. And I am there to hold you every step of the way, because I've been there. Maybe I have not been in your specific situation, but I've been there. And this is why I do this work, because when you go through and you become more of who you are, that's how your soul client finds you, right? If you're putting on this nice girl persona and you're only posting educational content, people are just going to scroll past it, right? And so when you learn to speak your truth, when you move from some of these lower layers of releasing all of this, right? The fear, the guilt, the shame. And again, I teach you several things in Elevate Entrepreneur Academy to help you with this, to release these lower layers so that you're elevating into these higher frequencies, speaking from your heart, connecting with your clients. That is where your potency is, because when you are an empowered person, you don't give your power away. You are able to set healthy boundaries. You're able to hold more clients because you're setting healthy boundaries. You're able to speak your truth. You're able to connect with your heart so that you connect with other hearts on the other side of a screen. It doesn't matter if they're around the world. It doesn't matter if they're right in the next town. Your frequency is first. So if you don't remember anything from what I'm saying, frequency first, aligning the energy. And so this is how people pleasing plays out. Oh my gosh. Say that 5 times fast. And again, it's not authentic, because that's a version of you that you've learned to be. And so I want to give you permission right now, as you're watching this, to decide and declare that you want to show up as the real you. Whatever that micro action looks like. If it's in setting a boundary, if it's in speaking up when normally you would kind of cower away, if it's being able to post something a little bit more bold and knowing that it's safe to do that. And of course, as long as you're doing something with love, like I post pretty, I call them truth-telling posts, but I do it with love. Again, frequency first. I'm always leading, and not that I'm perfect at all, because I'm not, but I always lead with love and intention. And so if you can come back to that, what is the frequency that I desire to lace through my business? That is such a powerful decision that you can make. So I'd love to see in the comments here, even if you're on the replay, what is that energetic decision? How do you want to be leading your legacy? Threading your business with what energy, right? That is really what we're coming back to. So I want to show you quickly how to really create the safety in the body. So if you're familiar with the chakra system, that's what I work off of. Joe Dispenza calls them energy centers. I call them chakras. They're pretty much, the 7 chakras of the body. They govern different hormones, different parts, and organs of the body. And so what I really help my clients with is I can even intuitively kind of feel like today I was working with a client who had a blocked throat chakra, and she was having a tough time communicating her and speaking her truth and her voice. And she's a pharmacy owner, and, that's really important for her. So I had one thing that I can do with you now, and just intuitively kind of can you feel any heaviness in your body right now? Maybe it's in your throat, a constriction, maybe it's a heaviness in your solar plexus, in your heart energy. If you don't know at all, just go to your heart and we'll just do this together. And I want you to just close your eyes and just take a deep breath and just do this with me now. And begin just tuning into this heart space or wherever you're feeling led. Maybe for you, it's in your throat or your heart, your root, whatever chakra it's in. Wherever you'd like to create safety in the body. It's safe to speak my truth. Choose an affirmation. Again, we're connecting the nervous system. We're allowing the nervous system to know it's safe. It's safe to speak my truth. It's safe to set boundaries. And really claim that. Even like tickling that part of, tickling that area of your throat, if that's where you're being guided, or your heart, just opening up the energy. Knowing it's safe. And so it could be that quick, right? Just creating that safety, deciding and attaching an affirmation to that part of you. It's safe for me to follow my heart might be another one, or anything else that's coming through. Just feeling into that. And then whatever your fear is, maybe it's like you have a fear of setting boundaries. I want you to, this will be your assignment. This will be something that you can do. Again, we start with the body, with the subconscious. It's safe to speak my truth, whatever your affirmation is, and then come out of that and write on one side of the paper, what is my fear around this, around, not being perfect or being seen or whatever. And then on the other side of the paper, just using, the facts of the situation, what is the worst that can happen? Or maybe you keep that all on one side, and then the other side is going to be, what is the truth? So as an example, this is what this would look like. I'm afraid to set boundaries because I'm afraid that my clients are going to be mad at me because they're paying me this money, and how dare I set this boundary, and whatever that story is, right? That's your default, your subconscious programming, your past conditioning. On the other side of the paper, you're going to write, it's actually safe for me to set boundaries because I can set loving boundaries to conserve my energy. Create that logical response on the other side of the paper, because your brain and your nervous system gets into that overwhelming response, like, oh no, I can't do it, I can't speak my truth, I'm going to get in trouble. And so it's creating safety in the body first, which is what we just did, along with writing out the cognitive things that your brain needs to know. Hey, it's safe for you to set this boundary. So this is just a little taste of what we're going to be diving into. Actually, in this month, in November, in Elevate Entrepreneur Academy, we're going to be going through in even more depth about releasing people pleasing, because there are so many nuances, there's so many layers to this. And of course, I'm not just going to wave a magic wand and like you watch this workshop and all of a sudden you're, you're ready to go and you're, cured of people pleasing, or, all of these other blocks that come up. This is really, Elevate Entrepreneur Academy is an intentional space for women who are ready to step into their power, to shine your light, so that you can consistently call in the clients that are in your world right now, but they can't see you because of these layers and these blocks that are coming up, right? And so you might not see what's blocking you from connecting to those clients. So we work both with the internal shifts, right? The energetic work, as well as I, intuitively work with you in the group, and on those 1 month, we do a call once a month to help you strategically as well. So we're marrying that energetic and strategic component to help you accelerate your path to full-time entrepreneurship. So if you are ready, if you just have been kind of like, I want to join this program, but I'm not sure, this is the time. Now is the time. It's almost the end of the year. And what I've found is that when you take action, it's that energetic decision, right? You're ready to shift. You're ready to show up in your power. And this group provides such a beautiful accountability. We have accountability partners in the group. I have a weekly Q&A thread. You can ask me anything. There is content to support you. There are 3 layers of support that I actually wanted to go over. So you have the content, which is self-paced, and you have access to that for 6 months. I show you step by step how to, with specific techniques to help you to release these blocks and to neutralize fears so that you are feeling empowered. You're in those higher states of taking consistent action naturally. You're not going to feel this push and pull or of like sometimes shining really brightly and then dimming your light, and then shining really brightly and then dimming. It's going to be this beautiful, natural, consistent flow, right? So many people that I've worked with before have had that. Like they started with me and they have like, they shine really bright for a while and then they kind of fall off a little bit. And so it's about getting that sustainability component with the things that I'm going to be teaching you in Elevate Entrepreneur Academy, if I could talk. So yeah, it's really about, the shifts, the strategies that you're going to be learning, as well as the coaching. So like I said, I'm extremely intuitive. I'm able to tune into what you're experiencing in your business energetically. And oftentimes you do get that personalized touch. It is a group container, but you oftentimes, like I said, on those calls, get personalized coaching from me that my one-on-one clients get. So it's really such a valuable experience. And like, again, you have the content, the coaching, and the community of other pharmacist entrepreneurs who are really supporting you. And it's such a cool experience to see, because a lot of these women do wind up, being on each other's podcasts or connecting and coming to my retreat. So you're really held in this beautiful, safe space for 6 months for you to really release these blocks, own your brilliance, and step into your power and into more of who you are. And the results speak for themselves. I'm sure you've seen, Jen B had 4 new clients, $3,500 a month. Katie had an 8K, her first high ticket client. Trish went from 0 clients to, fully booked out. I mean, you guys see all of the testimonial Tuesdays that are in there. So this translates practically when you show up and you're ready. So that is my one request, is that if you are joining this Elevate Entrepreneur Academy, I want you to be all in. I work with clients that are self-led, that are self-responsible. I hold the container and I hold you in the space, but I'm not doing the work for you. I really work with women who are ready to move, ready and open to really implement this into your business to create results. So if you have questions, I am more than happy to answer them. If you book in within the next 48 hours, I actually have a special bonus that I'm not announcing to the group, but DM me with Elevate and I can explore this with you to see, on both ends if it's an aligned fit. And I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay. So yeah, enrollment for this is open until the end of the week. So if you have questions, I am an open book. I'm happy to explore this with you. And please feel free, if you have any other questions, type them in the comments here. I'm happy to be of service. Again, I will come back in the next couple of days, answer any questions, and I am cheering you on in your business no matter what. So I hope that you enjoyed this 30-minute little workshop that I did here, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks, everybody.